your after-dinner speaker, the Honorable Matt Delligatti, Circuit Judge in the 20th Judicial Circuit here in West Virginia, and that is Marion County, West Virginia. There we go. Let's hear it from Marion County. I've known Judge Delligatti for a very long time. He's a very accomplished and successful young man. Just like you, back in the summer of 2003, he sat here as a citizen at the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State, a citizen out of Braxton Cottage, which is unfortunately now defunct. But during his experience here at Boys State, he passed the bar, became an attorney, and was elected as a circuit judge, which, coincidentally enough, is what he is today, 20 years later. He went on to graduate from Fairmont Senior High School after winning a state individual wrestling championship. Good job, Judge. Went to West Virginia University. At one point, was the youngest elected mayor in the state of West Virginia, correct? About 20 years old, elected to serve as the mayor of Fairmont. He then went on to the law school, the College of Law at West Virginia University, earned his law degree, clerked for the Honorable Irene Berger in the Southern District Court, United States Federal Court, down in Beckley. Following that, he went into private practice in Fairmont, where he was in a practice and then a solo practitioner for several years, representing clients throughout north central West Virginia. I had the privilege of having a jury trial once with him in federal court, and he was a very good attorney, and I have no doubt that he will be an even better circuit judge. He's been on the bench for about the last 6 months, being elected last year in 2024 to the bench in Marion County, where he now serves. And it's my honor and privilege to introduce to you the Honorable Matthew Delligatti.
Good evening. Now, I will tell you, my last jury trial that I had prior to taking the bench was against Brandon. He was kind not to tell you how that turned out. He won that case, so I'm glad to be back here. It's been 22 years since I was a citizen here, and I was looking at the website today and looking back through all the photos and memories that brought. But I will say that 2003 was the first year, at least on the website, that the pictures were color pictures, so I'm not that old, I guess. I'm not sure, though. So I ran for circuit judge in Marion County last year in May and got elected, and have been fortunate enough to serve now for 6 months, but it wasn't all that long ago that I was here. And I think back to my time here, and I'd already been interested in being a public citizen, running for office, being involved in all the process. I certainly am glad to see there are so many of you that are interested in that type of a thing. Now, you'll come across times in your life where people may try to discourage you from doing something because you're young or because it's always been done this way, but don't let that deter you. I felt those type of forces that worked against me when I was running for city council and mayor in my 20s. And it was the same kind of thing when I became judge. But don't let that discourage you. In fact, you folks here in the room have the most at stake. You're going to be around a lot longer than most of us. So it's important that you take an active approach in being part of our society. When I became circuit judge, I have a daughter who's in kindergarten, and there's a lot of things that circuit court judges do. You're here at criminal felony cases, jury trials with that, civil cases over $10,000, but now that's about to be $20,000. But you do a lot of abuse and neglect, and that takes up a lot of your time. But one thing you get to do is you get to marry folks. So my daughter, I picked her up from school, and she said that one of her classmates, her mom was getting married this Friday, and I was like, oh, that's great. And I said, well, in January, Daddy's going to be able to marry people. And she looked horrified and said, but what about Mom? So she thought I was going to marry someone else, but I said, no, I'll be performing the marriages. But one thing I want to tell you is that when you think about when things hit the proverbial fan in our society, lawyers and the courts are who decide what happens. And it's important that to respect the rule of law. There'll be plenty of decisions that have been made by, different courts that I might personally disagree with. But it's not about whether you personally agree or disagree with an order of the court. As a society, we accept that we follow lawful orders that are entered into by courts. Sometimes it's a challenging job, but really when it comes down to it is that when you're talking about things theoretically, that's one thing, when I was studying the law, but now being a judge, it's difficult to decide how a case should turn out, or some of the tougher decisions that circuit court judges make are dealing with sentencing. Does somebody deserve an opportunity or not? Or what type of thing might help keep the public safe, but also give people an opportunity to redeem themselves? So I know that I don't want to talk too long, but I will say that I'm happy to see that there are so many of you here. It's a good thing to do. But don't let this just be a week that you learned a lot about the operating of our system that we all believe in. Go out and put that, put it to work. And I think that you'll find that you'll have a sense of fulfillment in being part of the process. Even if you aren't successful in running for office or anything like that, find something or someone that you believe in and see if you can help out. And also, my final thing I want to tell you is be kind to each other. There's a lot of hate in the world and disagreement. I think whoever did the prayer here before we ate had mentioned something about civil discourse. And civility is something that is very important, and you can have civil disagreements with people. You don't have to agree. That's the beauty of it. But respecting people and doing it in an appropriate way, that's really what's important. And it's also important if you become a lawyer that you got to be civil to opposing parties. There's a lot to be said about how you conduct yourself, and I think it's important to remember that. So thank you all, and I'm glad to be here this evening, so thank you.
Judge Delligatti, on behalf of the American Legion Mountaineer Boys State, all the citizens, we want to thank you for your time and your words. And just so you know, he's also going to stick around this evening and help provide some legal instruction to the elected circuit judges as well as other participants in the legal system. So we appreciate his time that he has given us in addition to speaking to us. And on behalf of the family here, we have a commemorative Boys State coin that we would like to present to you in our appreciation. Thank you.